Welcome to Body Control. 8 amazing journeys reveal how your body heals, sleeps, cools, breathes, and sends its fastest messages. A bump can damage tiny blood vessels without breaking the skin. Blood leaks into the surrounding tissue, creating a red or purple patch. The Body Control cleanup team arrives and begins collecting damaged red blood cells. As hemoglobin from those cells breaks down, the bruise may look dark blue, purple, or brown. The body then converts parts of the blood pigment into biliverdin, which can give the bruise a green color. Biliverdin becomes yellow bilirubin as the cleanup continues. Immune cells carry away the remaining debris while the tiny vessels and tissue repair themselves. The exact colors and timing vary, and not every bruise shows every color. Purple, green, then yellow. A bruise is a visible recycling project inside Body Control. Next, how caffeine hides tiredness. While you are awake, a chemical called adenosine gradually builds up around brain cells. When adenosine connects with its receptors, it helps create the feeling of sleep pressure. Then caffeine arrives from coffee, tea, cola, or chocolate. Its shape lets it sit on many adenosine receptors without activating them. With some receptors temporarily blocked, the brain receives fewer of those tiredness signals. You may feel more alert, but caffeine has not erased the need for sleep. Hours later, the liver has broken down more caffeine, and adenosine can reach its receptors again. Caffeine can remain active for many hours, so having it late may make falling asleep harder. It does not create energy. It temporarily hides part of the sleepy message inside Body Control. Why does your nose get blocked? During a cold, viruses infect cells lining the nose and trigger an immune alarm. Chemical signals increase blood flow and make the nasal lining swell. That swollen tissue narrows the passages where air normally travels. Meanwhile, mucus traps particles and helps move unwanted material toward the throat or nostrils. Extra mucus can add to the stuffy feeling, but swelling is a major reason the nose feels blocked. Tiny hairs called cilia keep beating, carrying the mucus and trapped material along. As the immune response settles, the swollen vessels shrink and airflow gradually returns. A blocked nose is not simply a pipe filled with mucus. It is a busy, swollen defense zone inside Body Control. Now enter the night shift of sleep. Falling asleep does not switch the brain off. It begins a repeating journey through different stages. In light non-REM sleep, breathing and heartbeat slow, muscles relax, and brain activity begins to change. Deeper non-REM sleep follows, with slower brain waves and the body's most restful conditions. Later, the brain enters rapid eye movement sleep, usually called REM. The eyes move beneath closed lids, brain activity becomes lively, and vivid dreams often occur. Most arm and leg muscles are temporarily kept very relaxed, which helps prevent acting out dreams. Across the night, the brain cycles through non-REM and REM several times. Deep sleep is usually longer earlier, while REM periods tend to grow longer toward morning. Sleep is not empty time. It is a carefully timed night shift inside Body Control. How does sweat cool you? During exercise or hot weather, sensors notice that body temperature is rising. The hypothalamus in the brain acts like a control center and sends cooling instructions. Millions of eccrine sweat glands in the skin begin releasing watery sweat through tiny ducts. The sweat spreads across the surface, but simply being wet is not the main cooling trick. When liquid sweat evaporates into water vapor, it takes heat energy away from the skin. Moving air can help evaporation, which is why a breeze often feels cooler. In very humid air, sweat evaporates less easily, so cooling becomes less efficient. Blood vessels near the skin can also widen, helping transfer more internal heat toward the surface. Tiny drops, serious engineering. That is the cooling system inside Body Control. Follow the journey of oxygen. With every breath, millions of oxygen molecules begin an incredible journey. Air rushes through the nose and down the windpipe into the lungs. Inside tiny air sacs called alveoli, oxygen crosses a delicate wall and enters the blood. Red blood cells collect the oxygen using a protein called hemoglobin. The heart pumps these busy carriers through arteries toward every part of the body. Today, a working leg muscle needs extra energy, so more oxygen is delivered there. Oxygen leaves the blood, enters a muscle cell, and reaches its microscopic power stations, the mitochondria. There, oxygen helps release usable energy from nutrients so the muscle can move. The leftover carbon dioxide travels back in the blood to the lungs and leaves with the next breath. From the air to a moving muscle and back again, the delivery never stops inside body control. Race alongside the brain's lightning message. Every movement begins with a message. When a child decides to kick a ball, the motor area of the brain prepares the command. Neurons pass the signal as a rapid electrical pulse. The message travels down through the brainstem and into the spinal cord. There, it connects with a motor neuron leading toward the leg. The pulse races along the neuron's long axon, protected and accelerated by insulating myelin. At the end of the nerve, the electrical message reaches the neuromuscular junction. A chemical messenger crosses the tiny gap and tells the muscle fiber to respond. Calcium is released inside the muscle, allowing microscopic protein filaments to slide past one another. The muscle shortens, the leg swings, and the ball flies. From a thought to a movement in a fraction of a second, that is the brain's lightning message inside body control. Finally, the battle inside a wound. A small scrape may look simple, but inside the skin it starts an emergency operation. Damaged blood vessels send out alarm signals, and the body control team races to the scene. Platelets arrive first. They stick to the broken vessel, link together, and form a temporary plug. Long strands of fibrin weave through the plug, creating a stronger net that becomes a protective clot. Meanwhile, bacteria from the outside try to enter through the damaged skin. Fast immune cells surround the intruders, swallow them, and clear away damaged material. Then repair cells begin rebuilding. Fibroblasts lay down collagen support, tiny blood vessels regrow, and fresh skin cells spread across the surface. The clot dries into a scab that protects the busy construction site below. When the new skin is ready, the scab falls away and the emergency is over inside body control. The adventure continues. Discover more journeys inside body control.